Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope all doing well. Hope all doing well. This is my Nathan Heaney versus Brad Paul's Rematch and the Magnificent 7 bottom preview and bottom predictions. Well, they call it Magnificent 7. By the time I'm doing this video, I'm only predicting 5 fights at the moment because Ian Davis versus Sabaz Mizzou was supposed to be the main event. That's got postponed. After Ian Davis pulled out. I think Sabaz Massoud will still be fighting on the card against a new opponent. And we are expecting to see Esoteria on this card as well. So, but for the fights that get made after I do this video, I'll put my predictions for them fights in the comments. But for the 5 fights we've got so far, I'm going to be doing my preview for them and my predictions for them. So starting off then, for the Indies heavyweight title, Solomon Decades versus David Adier. Solomon Decades got 8 wins, 0 defeats. David Adier's got 12 wins, and obviously the 1 defeat was on his last fight with Fabio Wardy on the Fury versus Danu card, of course. And this fight's been in the making for the last couple of months now, hasn't it? And the start of the year, actually. It was supposed to be on the Yachts Magnificent 7 card, but it didn't materialise because David Adier was obviously on his short ban for pushing the referee in this defeat against Fabio Wardy. Some Decades, for me, not a convincing performance in his last fight, which was on the Magnificent 7 card. The last Magnificent 7 card, of course. Wasn't convincing performance, very ugly performance, but maybe that's the way he fights. He knows how to win at that test, especially if it does the points as well. So that's why I think David Adier could be in trouble if he does those points, because I think Solomon will have the advantage if he does the points. David Adier's got to stop him, really. He's got to stop him to have any chance. And for me, I do favour Darkheads. I have been swinging roundabouts with this fight. Before Darkheads, before Son Darkheads' last fight, I did fancy David Adier to knock him out. And even though I wasn't convinced by Darkheads' last performance, it was a very ugly performance, I just think that could be all one for David Adier. That could be all one for him. And I think Darkheads will be more up for it because it is a bit of fight for him. It is a big fight within this heavyweight title. It's a bit of name in terms of the opposition as well compared to Darkheads' last opponent as well. He will cause some problems, David Adier. But for me, I actually think the way Solomon fights is just all one for David Adier, in my opinion. And I'm going to go for Solomon Darkheads to win on points against David Adier, in my opinion. Up next then is the Indies WBO Hooping welterweight title fight between, this is going to be a good fight, Owen Cooper, the defending champion, up against Echo Esman. Echo Esman, who I saw most recently against the likes of Harry Staff and Chris Condor, of course, in his last couple of fights. Owen Cooper with a brilliant performance, of course, in his last fight, stopping Ethan James, who we all thought might have been too tall for him and too rangy for Owen Cooper. But Owen Cooper with his style, with his fighting style, it was actually too much for Ethan James to deal with. And but different tests here with Echo Esman, who's been there with the likes of Chris Condor and Harry Staff. Of course, obviously got beat to Harry Staff, and was probably quite lucky to probably get a decision win over Chris Condor as well. I think Echo Esman just got the win, didn't he, against Chris Condor? Or it might have been a draw because it was 2 years ago, wasn't it? I think it was. or Yoda, because I remember it was on the Smith Eubank card. But I do know Chris Condor didn't win that fight. I know that. But I didn't know if Eto Westman did win the fight or it was a draw. But it was yesterday. It was very lucky, anyways. Eto Westman to even probably get something favoured in his favour in that fight. And for me, I really do like Holman Cooper. I really like what I saw from him against Ethan James, and I think Holman Cooper will just do more of the work, in my opinion. I think it will go to points. I think it'll be one of them pick-em fights for me. I think it'll be one of them pick-em fights, but I think Holman Cooper will just do more of the work, in my opinion, and get the win on points and have more of the volume, in my opinion. So up next then, for the interim WBC World Female Super Lightweight title, Chantel Cameron's first fight under Queensbury Promotions after signing for Frank Warren. Obviously 18 wins, 1 defeat, and 1 defeat was against obviously Katie Taylor in the rematch, which for me, Chantel Cameron didn't lose that rematch in my opinion. I still thought Cameron won that rematch against Katie Taylor. But anyways, Chantel Cameron up against Ahel Mathied, the Frenchwoman, 16 wins, 2 defeats. For me, this is one of those fights where I think Chantel Cameron, for me, I just think still outbox Mathied for me to points decision win for Chantel Cameron. I do think Chantel Cameron will win this by points and probably comfortable points decision as well, I would expect. And hopefully we may that see take Taylor to, because yes, we will. Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn are getting on now, aren't they? They're best mates. So we may still see that trade between Cameron and Taylor. Obviously, Kate Taylor will fight Amanda Serrano in the rematch in November. So, but yeah, let's see what happens with this fights out there for Chantel Cameron. The Sandy Ryan fight, Mattea Mayer fight as well. And the Tata Jonas fight. There's a lot of fights out there for Chantel Cameron. But I do expect Chantel Cameron to win this fight comfortably on points against Mathied. So 2 more fights to predict. Obviously, I'm only predicting the 5 fights at the moment, as we don't know the other 2 fights that will be on the card. So next fight is for the Commonwealth Chris Bantamweight title, with the defending champion Asian, 18 wins, 10 defeats, 2 draws. Those up against Andrew Kane. He's got 11 wins and 1 defeat. This is going to be a really good fight. It's going to be a really good dust-up between these two. Asian with that brilliant win over Chris Borderport, stopping him midway the fight, which I think a few people were shocked by that, but Asian was the one putting the pressure on, the more front-footed fighter, and the aggressor as well. But for me, obviously shout out to Boston Media Hub. Obviously massive Asian fans. Obviously Asian does do on that channel quite readily. I am subscribed to that channel as well. But I do think Andrew Kane gets the win here. I think it will be a fantastic fight, fantastic dust-up while it does that, in my opinion. Proper dust-up between the two of them. Andrew Kane will obviously be more the back foot fighter. He'll be using his jab, but Andrew Kane, he's got power as well. Once he uses that jab and he lands his hook, can Asian deal with that? We'll wait and see. But I think Andrew Kane does get the stoppage on Asian, and I think Andrew Kane will get the stoppage in the 10th round for me. I think Andrew Kane stopped Asian in the 10th round, in my opinion. But proper dust up and then can go either way. Because that's the end. A few people that doubted that's the end against Chris Bourke. So it'll white ASEAN off at your peril, isn't it? Yes, we will. And finally, it's the rematch, for the British middleweight title. Nathan Heaney, 18 wins, 0 defeats, 1 draw. Brad Pauls, 18 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat. Obviously, the draw obviously came in the first fight for both fighters. Obviously, drawn to each other in the first round. In the first fight. Nathan Heaney was underwhelming in that first fight against Brad Pauls. He was probably favourite to win that first fight in Brad Pauls by a comfortable point decision. That's what I predicted. So I think Nathan Heaney kind of underestimated him a bit. And for me, I think Brad Pauls, I thought Brad Pauls was robbed in the first fight. I really do. I thought he was robbed of a point decision win. But it just shows the quality of the middleweight division. I'm sorry, I do have to do about this then. Denzel Bentley is the only one to cause Janibek problems, right? Should have got, for me, in my eyes, should have got the win against Janibek. Then Denzel Bentley is underwhelming against Nathan Heaney. Nathan Heaney is underwhelming against Brad Pauls. Don't get me wrong, it is open. It's so open, the middleweight division. It really is. We don't have Tyler Denny against Hamza Shiraz. We don't know what level Shiraz is really at. Because that's probably Shiraz's toughest opponent so far. Alongside Emma Williams. Honestly, I feel the middleweight division is quite poor in terms of quality. I think it's poor in terms of quality. But it's competitive. It is open. It is open in terms of the depth, because I actually think anyone could be a world champion in the middleweight division. Because I really do not rate the middleweight world champions. I really don't. Because Janibek struggled against Denzel Bentley. And that's the same Denzel Bentley who lost to Nathan Heaney, by the way. So maybe should we have Janibek versus Nathan Heaney then? It's madness, isn't it? It really is madness. But I do expect Nathan Heaney this time to put in a better performance in the rematch against Brad Pauls like he did in the first fight. I'm still going to go for Nathan Heaney to win the rematch. I think Nathan Heaney this time will win it definite on point decision. I think he'll improve from the first fight between the two of them. But if Brad Pauls puts in the same performance again, what does that tell you about the middleweight division? So I do expect an improved performance from Nathan Heaney, and I'm going for Nathan Heaney to win on points in the rematch by definite against Brad Pauls. So they are all my predictions for the 5 fights that are on the Magnificent 7th card. But as I will keep saying, I will do my predictions in the comments of this video for the other 2 fights as well that I expect to get made on this card as well. So take care, stay safe, so yeah, feel free to leave all your predictions down below in the comments if you're watching this on playback.